Yeah, we can go whenever you want. It's only a couple minutes, so
All right, so we're live actually now.
okay.
So just wanted to say thanks to everybody that's come in. Let me get this out of the way because I'm horrible at this. I get going in the conversation and I never acknowledge the people that are here. But um, why are we all this yelling? It was the first one in. Thank you, Sam, for being here. Linda Worth, she's in here also. Empire of Dirt, Aquatics, Jeff Kane, Uncle Smiley, Aquariums, Joel. Thank you for being here. Let's see who else do we have. We have Keith, KGE Aquatics, Christopher Jenkins, with Tropical Fish Company. Wait up, I think my audio might be pretty bad because I had the mic so far away. And I think that's everybody for. Oh, and Nick, Heart Water Propagation. I was just looking at his video right now. His wife is trying to get into the hobby too. So that was kind of cool to see. Renee, thanks for coming in. Um, so as you guys know, this is Keys from KGE Aquatics. This will be your second go around or third.
Yeah, second time. So yeah, I'm happy to come on here with you.
Yeah.
I'll
Well, I
go a third.
appreciate you appreciate you taking the time to come on,
Yeah, no
especially
problem. I'm kind of
especially with
I'm basically retired, so I got all the time in the world.
well, yeah, but you got some stuff going on, with your personal life, and that's why I was really surprised when you said you wanted to come on. I was like, oh shit, well, he wants to come on. We definitely need to have you on, and because for those that don't know, Keith has been fighting cancer for what has been now 6 months, 7 months.
No, it's actually been like a year.
Oh shit, that quick,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So it's actually been more than a year. I was like diagnosed like officially diagnosed like in uh the beginning of June of last year.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
did you already kind of know when you came on the last time, or it was after that?
It, when I came on with you,
Hmm.
yeah, no, I wasn't. I think I was still I still thought I was healthy before that. um, yeah. So
So, what was it? Something that you were experiencing that just kind of made you realize you had to go to the doctor, or was it just
I
on a
started I started like in the winter time of in the winter of 2024. I was getting like real bad lower back pain,
okay?
and then I was getting, and before that, prior to that, like 6 8 months before that, I had went to the doctor and I had they diagnosed me with diverticulitis. Um, my GI tract, my gut was messed up, and they gave me some antibiotics for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I took that, and I felt better, and then when I started getting pain again, it was in my back, and then I got pain in my abdomen again. So I thought it was diverticulitis again. So I went back to my general practitioner, and they prescribed me the same antibiotics.
So they weren't drawing any blood work to see if anything else was going
Not
on, or
really, but they prescribed me the antibiotics again, but this time it like didn't go away, and I was like getting real pain, and then they sent me for a CAT scan for imaging, and then that's I went to like a emergent care for that, like for the imaging, and they seen something on the pancreas there,
mm-hmm.
and then from there I had to go see like a GI specialist, and then that's when they discovered that it was cancer. So
Now, were you somebody that would regularly go get health checkups, or just
I'd go
whenever,
once a
like all
year
of
for
us?
I'd go once a year for a physical,
Uh
because
huh.
I have hypertension, so I got to go anyways just so they renew the medication. But I've had hypertension since I was like in my 20s before I got it. But even before I got fat, I think it's just hereditary in the family. Even my kids, both of my boys, or Jake, he has hypertension, and Elijah's only 18, and he went to the doctor the other day, and they said he had high cholesterol. So yeah, family history sucks. but uh, but yeah, so when I discovered what made me go to the doctor this the last time was like I was getting like real bad lower back pain,
Mm-hmm.
and then so then that's when I went really.
Now the pain was it like just constantly there, or was like if you sat for too long or bent over for too long, you would just kind of where you could
It,
kind of just say, "Oh, it's probably something I'm doing," or
yeah,
is
at
it?
first I thought I just like strained my back muscles because I don't know, lifting stuff, moving stuff, fish tanks and this and that, and going to the swaps, moving shit in and out of the car all the time. So I thought I just injured my back,
Mm,
but it became like more persistent. The pain was like constant, and I was putting icy hot on it and taking ibuprofen, and but none of that helped. Um, and then like in June before after I got diagnosed and and it got really bad. Like I couldn't even sleep really. I'd get like maybe an hour of sleep, but the pain was like real bad. But then they went in and did an ablation. So they went in. It was just an outpatient surgery, but they went in my back and they burned some nerves, and
mhm.
now I don't have to have no pain. Before that, I was on not Motrin, I was on morphine and oxycontin, and yeah, so I wasn't driving either. So when I had to go to the doctor's appointments, I was taking Uber, and that shit was killing me in price because my doctor's is like a half hour away. So I was taking
Yeah.
an Uber a half hour away, like 3 times a week, back and forth. That was like $100 a trip. So that shit was killing me. But then after I got off I didn't want to drive, on the morphine and stuff. I was all jacked up junkie.
Now, are you doing this through the VA or?
No, I mean I'm eligible for VA healthcare. I use the VA now from like my primary doctor, just for basic stuff now. But for the oncologist, I my wife was working, so I was using her health insurance, or I was on her health insurance, and then so I continue with that. I think you get better care actually
Mm.
for serious stuff versus the VA. I mean, the VA, you can go to the VA if you got a cold or you twist your ankle or something. But
It's no different than being in active duty that they want to give you 500 milligrams of Motrin, and here you go.
yeah, yeah, like when I was active duty, I hardly ever went to the doctor because they didn't do nothing. But I
Well,
never really
no,
got sick because I was pickled with alcohol all the time. So
no, they always just gave you ibuprofen or Motrin, and that was pretty much it. They send you
oh
on your way.
yeah,
You never. I don't think I ever got any other medication other than that.
yep,
You could have had a cold, you could have had, a limb fall off or whatever. It's always going to be either ibuprofen or Motrin, and that was it.
yeah,
Just the milligrams changed.
but yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I just with I use my private insurance for the oncologist,
Mm.
and it's expensive, but the insurance we got's not too bad, so it covers most of it. But
Now, leading up to that, was there any other issues that you were having? I mean, is this something they could potentially connect to your service? And because
oh,
being on
I
the
got
ship
I
and
got
stuff.
it. I got a service connected because the I forget what act it was that they passed, but during like the Gulf War, we were exposed to different shit. So I submitted it for to the VA, and then they it's service connected. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I get VA disability, which helps out a lot. Like I said, I'm not working, so and I'm basically. I mean, I could tap into my 401k that I had when I worked for my other employer, but I'm still kind of young to tap into that, so I don't
Yeah.
really want to tap into it yet. I'm only 55 right now, so I mean, I talked to the guy that administrates my 401k. I have it in the IRA now, um, and he said hold off if you can to not tap into that. So So yeah,
Yeah,
so
no.
the disability, and then I got Social Security too. So because I can't work a full-time job really now with all the doctor's appointments. Like next week, I have doctor's appointments Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's pretty much all week.
Now, I know that when obviously when this all started up, your business, you kind of had to get rid of that, but is it something that potentially you might be looking to retaking, or you're completely done with
I still have the website up. I'm still, I mean, our stock is limited just
okay.
just because I'm not bringing in a lot of stock, but I have a lot of botanicals. So if any of you guys are looking for botanicals, I have like a huge assortment, probably the biggest assortment that you'll find anywhere online. And our prices are pretty good, I think, because I base those. I window shop when I look at other websites and see what they're charging. Then I'm usually in that ballpark or lower. Um, so I'm still doing that. I mean, I get a couple orders a week, not much. It pays for the website basically. For the because
Yeah.
the website that I have costs. It's through Shopify, but I think my monthly fee for the Shopify for the website and the stuff that I have on it's like $45 a month. So I'm not making a lot of money. So the little bit of stuff that KJE sells now basically pays for the website fees.
But
So and then
besides the botanicals, are you still doing any of the foods or anything like that?
I
Or
have Dr. Baslier, and I'm debating on whether to continue with the foods because what I have in stock now, and it's a decent amount, but it's not the full line like I used to carry. It's really good food. So if you guys want high quality foods, look in Dr. Baslier's German made. Um, it is really good. But I haven't restocked in a while. So what I have is what I had uh, in inventory. And then I was doing North Fin, but I still have like a few SKUs from North Fin, but not many. North Fin's real good food, but I sold a lot more Dr. Basler versus North Fin. Um, so, but I'm not doing any live goods. I quit doing the plants just because I shut all the tanks down.
okay.
So yeah, so I don't have nowhere to keep inventory. So
Did you get rid of all your stocking the ponds that you had outside too, or
I got tubs, but I left them. I didn't set them up this year. Um, and then last year, that's about the time I got diagnosed and I started feeling real bad. I was feeling okay at the beginning of the year, and like right at the beginning of pond season, I started setting up and then setting them up, and then that's when I started feeling bad. So they all went to shit last year. And I didn't do nothing with them this year. I drained most of them. I left two of them where I didn't flip them over, and they filled up with rainwater. So I got a bunch of tadpoles out there, but that's about it. So no plants
well,
or nothing, just
you,
tadpoles.
you can sell feeder tadpoles
Yeah, I
until they
could.
run out.
Yeah, I mean, I looked in. I got like one 30-gallon, like one of the tubs you could buy from Lowe's, sitting on the deck filled with rainwater, and I just walked by it the other day, and there's like probably 1,000 tadpoles in there. So I have no idea what kind of frogs they are, or they might be toads too. So
Yeah, because I know when I guess initially when you got diagnosed, well, we found out about that, and then obviously it was not that it was unexpected. You obviously went away for a while. I imagine getting used to all the treatments and stuff like that. But it seems to me right now that your energy seems to be back. How are you feeling right now?
I feel better. I still get tired a lot, but overall, like the pain. I mean, I'll get like stomach cramps and stuff every now and then, but it's not too bad. I have some different medications for that. But the nausea, when initially when I was diagnosed and going through it at the beginning, I'd get like nauseous real bad. I couldn't hold my food down. So I kept a bucket by me all the time just because, you know. But now I mean I haven't got nauseous and shoot like it's probably been 4 or 5 months maybe. And then, like I said, when they did the ablation, the pain's gone. So I don't even take anything for pain. So right now, the only medication I'm really on is stuff for hypertension, and then they put me on a blood thinner, because they seen some stuff in my lung and stuff, like some clotting. So they put me on a blood thinner for that, just to get rid of that. And the last CAT scan I had, all that was gone, but they told me to remain on the blood thinner. So so yeah, so the pain is, I lost a lot of weight. That's you could probably tell I'm not fat no more. So maybe it was a good thing I was fat. But it's like, if you're gonna get cancer, make sure you stock up on food ahead of time and get some weight on you. Because I mean, I'm not big, so I was like a little oompa loompa. So I was like over 200 pounds, and that's a lot when you're only 5'4". So, but now I lost a lot of weight. I'm down to like 145, I think. So, kind of like a skeleton now. Yeah. But I do feel better. That's why I decided to go to the Clash this year.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down Friday morning. I'll leave here Friday morning. It's like 4 or 5 hours. I think 5 hours. I forget. So I'll drive down there, and I'm gonna go to Foxy and Peplin's wedding. That's the main reason I'm going to the Clash, is to the wedding, and then I'll see everybody that's there. Make my rounds, say hi to everybody, and I know a bunch of those people too that are down there, that are not on YouTube. Just that are in the fish community itself, because like a lot of people from Bucks County Aquarium Society that Alishan's part of. That's a great club, and I would travel down there to those clubs, and I spoke at like the Cichlid Club of York, which is one of the host clubs for the Clash. You got the Cichlid Club of York, and then the Aquarium Club of Lancaster County. Those two partner up and put the Clash on. So I know people all over, coast to coast. So whenever I go to events, I run into people that I do know. So it's good to catch up and see everybody.
So the actual ceremony, is that going to be on Friday then?
Yeah, it's Friday evening.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I forget the exact time, but I'll go down early and hang out and go to the wedding. I waited too long to get a hotel room at the actual event, at the actual venue. They sold out. Even if you wanted to pay extra, they were sold out. They were booked up all the way. So I had to get some cheap, save me some money, but I don't have no idea what the condition of the hotel is. But there was one down the street that for like $90. So that'll tell you that it's probably not in very good condition. So I hope I don't get bed bugs. So yeah. But I did get a hotel nearby. It's like a couple miles away. And it was cheap. So this kind of scary.
Yeah, well, I guess Skipper has stayed at some of the offsites. I don't think he had very good things to say about the place.
No, it's I mean, the area itself is not, it's not like a bad area.
Yeah, no, it's just the quality of the rooms. I think that was his biggest gripe.
Kind of junky, and you're gonna kind of worry if you're gonna end up with like some crotch monsters or something. Who knows? Yeah. That's what worried me. I stayed. That's what was scary. Is one time Elijah had a doctor's appointment in Boston. He had to go to the Children's Hospital in Boston. So we went, and I got like a name brand hotel, Sheraton. Supposed to be a nice hotel, and the hotel was nice. And we got to the room, and there's friggin' bed bugs, man. Luckily we didn't like stay in there, and they got us another room, and then we inspected it real good. But yeah, they gave us like free passes and stuff. But I was like,
I don't know if I would have been able to stay even if the other room didn't have anything.
Yeah, my wife was freaking out more than me, but it's kind of, and then
I don't blame her.
Yeah, when you see it, and then all of a sudden, whether they're on you or not, you're itching.
Yep. You feel them
Yeah,
crawling on you.
yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. I've been in the Navy. I stayed in some crazy ass places. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it'd be good to go to the Clash and see everybody. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. So
Yeah. That'll definitely be, it sounds like it's going to be a very good time. And
yeah,
just
it looks like
even if the wedding wasn't going on, it sounds like everybody that goes, that's the one thing I was talking about the other day, is everybody that goes to that event, it seems like they get recharged in the hobby because they come out of
yeah,
there and everybody is super excited, super pumped. Everybody's, you can see it. People look different. They have this glow about them, I guess. I wouldn't say glow, but just you could see their emotional state is at a different level, and it's usually on a positive level. I haven't seen anybody be very down from going to the event. So, I'm pretty sure that's going to be really nice, especially something for you to, kind of reconnect and
yeah.
get to
I
see some
went
people.
last year for just a day. I went
Mm,
last year for on a Friday, stayed Friday, and then hung out a little bit Saturday morning, then drove back. So got to hang out with Dee Dee, which is good, and a few other people. And got to, like I said, and then say hi to everybody that's like not part of the YouTube community. So so that was good. Drink a few
well,
beers. I'm not supposed to, but fuck it. Uh,
you got to live a little.
yeah. So I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably do the same thing this trip.
Okay.
Jake, my older boy, he's gonna. I went by myself last year, and Jake asked me if we were gonna do the Clash. If we were gonna go down there, that he wanted to go. So because he knows some of the people in the fish fam community too. He got to hang out. Jake and I did the 2023 ACA. I was a rep
Mm,
for Fritz Aquatics, so I drove out to Wisconsin. That's the one that was in Madison, Wisconsin. It was the American Cichlid Association convention / catfish cataclysm that club out there hosted in 23. And like I said, I repped that for Fritz Aquatics, which was good. They paid for my travel and the hotel. I didn't get paid any like salary or anything,
mm.
but they paid for the hotel and they paid for my travel there and back. So they basically paid for me to go hang out and talk fish and see a bunch of people I know. But when I went out there, I got to hang out with Foxy and Peplin and Jeff Kane. Um, Kenny came out there. I forget who else came out there. Whip came out there, but Whip Whip and I never saw each other, which is. I mean, I could see someone missing me because I was little, but you can't miss Whip, and I never did see him. So
Let me go take care of something real quick. I'll be right back.
okay, let me see the chat here. Um, yeah, Peplin. Jake's coming. He's coming to the wedding. So I'm just looking at chat now. I wasn't looking at chat at all before. So I got to scroll up. And Dee Dee, you're right. It feels like a family reunion when everybody gets together. So it's a good time. So
Well, the other thing I also wanted to kind of talk to you about, and this is going back to your business, because lately it seems like we've got quite a bit of people in the community that are looking to start up a business or contemplating the idea of starting a business up. And being that you've done it for such, for quite some time, and I see you in the comments, kind of, providing some input and some information like that. But what would be some of the things that you would recommend for somebody that's either thinking about starting a business or is in the process of starting a business?
uh, in this industry, it's just know that you got to put in the work because the payoff is this it's not huge. You're not going to get rich. So just know you're not going to get rich. You're going to probably go in this industry for the fun, and you got a passion for it. So that's one thing, is you're not going to get rich. I mean, you can make a living, but you're not going to live a lavish lifestyle, which I don't. I've been poor my whole life, so I'm fine with that. There's a lot of competition, so there is. Once you get into it, there's a lot of competition, and it seems like now there's even more. From when I started, I started KJE in 2016, like the end of 2016, so basically 2017. And I got into it selling plants. There wasn't a lot of people selling plants. I mean, there was Aquarium Co-op and Dustin's and a few others, but now everybody and their brothers selling plants. So how I stayed competitive and how I made it is I was cheaper than everybody else. So and I was making a profit, so I wasn't losing money. There's a decent markup in the plants. If you look at what some of the retailers sell them for, and a lot of us get our stock from. There's only a few nurseries in the United States, so they're either importing them or they're getting them from a couple nurseries. So I know the prices, so I know the markup. So some of the online retailers are making a lot of money on. They're not getting rich, but they're making a lot of profit on plants. So, but it's good for them. You sell it for what they're going to pay you for it. So, but like how I stayed competitive was I was cheaper than everybody else. So, and as far as like fish, I sold fish. I sold fish, but I didn't usually import them. I got like a real good friend of mine that lives close by me that loves breeding fish, all kinds of fish.
Okay.
He hates people. He don't like dealing with people. He rarely
That's
goes
usually
I
the
try to
case.
get him to go to an auction with me to take some of his fish. And probably since 2016, I bet he went to like 3 auctions with me since 2016. He don't even like going to the auctions. Sometimes he would bag fish up and just, because a lot of times I would pass by his house going towards Massachusetts way or Connecticut. And he was on my way that direction. And he would want to get rid of stuff, and he said, "You could have it." He said, "Here, just take it." He would bag it up, and I would take it to the auction and take some German blue rams or killifish or whatever. And he didn't want no money for it. He's like, "Just take them." I was like, "All right." But so if you got the facility and you could breed your own fish, I see Imperial Tropicals. If you follow Imperial Tropicals, they just built. But they just installed a bunch more tanks where they're going to start doing more in-house breeding. You can make money there if you don't have to import, but you got to keep up with the demand too. That's why even my buddy Michael from Michael's Fish Room, he got out of it. He found love and didn't want to fool with fish no more. So
can't blame the guy.
Initially, when he got into the business, he was just selling what he was breeding, and he couldn't keep up with the demand, so he started importing. So, and when you import fish, you're gonna have like a lot of fish death.
Mm-hmm.
Depending. He dealt with guppies, so guppies are imported guppies are kind of fragile. So, you'd import 1,000 fish, and you might end up with a few hundred that are dead. So you got to realize that too. So, and then you got to mark your fish up accordingly to cover that.
Yeah, no, and the other thing that I was curious is because I know you kind of carried the entire line of different products for everything from foods to live fish and plants. Of those 3 items, which is the one that you felt was the one that moved the best in your online store?
Plants, definitely. Yeah, that's what got me into the business. I used to just like a lot of us hobbyists, because I'm a hobbyist first, but what got me into all my hobbies turned into a business, or except for golf, because I suck at golf, but I couldn't make no money at that. But I just I would sell plants at auctions or even online in the online forums, even before Facebook and you know, YouTube and all that. You know, they had forums online. There still might be some forums left. Planet Tanks. I forget the name of the other ones, but we do some trading and some selling on that. But you could only grow so many plants in your own tank.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into digging around on the internet and talking to people, asking people, and I found some wholesalers. I talked to them and they told me what they required. You know, they said you got to make a minimum X amount, minimum order for this. You know, you got to be a legitimate business. So I went and got my tax ID and my doing business as. I'm not an LLC. I just, in the state of New York, they call it a DBA, doing business as.
Mhm.
You can get that. It's pretty cheap. That's one of the only things cheap in New York. So it's like a $30. I think it was $30 one-time fee. You register your business name and then you get a federal tax ID. So I figured all that out just looking online and getting that. So, and then, but definitely plants. That's what got me into business.
Now, now because I know one of the other things that you used to do is you used to travel to all the club meetings, all the club swaps. Now, was that you were doing that because this had become your full time employment, or that was the only way you're going to make ends meet? I mean,
That's how I did my hustle.
okay,
You know, really being expose yourself. You got to expose yourself, get people to know you. So I know Jody and Chris. They're going into business,
hmm,
and that's probably already part of their business plan because they're already part of the fish fam. So so you have that going for you. So exposure. Go to the clubs. Go to the swaps. Um, you know, print up stickers. People like stickers, and anything like that. So you know, you get exposure. Go, you know, go to the event if it's feasible for you. Go to an event.
yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Like I would vend at the Clash. You know, I'd vend at the Clash, and I never would travel. I like Grant and Shelby. They go. Seems like they go coast to coast now. I
Yeah,
couldn't afford to do that. But if you can afford to do it, then do it. If you can afford to vend at an Aquashella and it's nearby, you know, do it. Aquashella it used to be expensive. I don't know what it is now because they keep changing, like, I don't know what they call it, ownership or
yeah.
management or but it's a whole new crew now running Aquashella, so I don't know how it is.
I know. I know. Last year, tables were going for about $800, and I
Yeah,
know that
that's
because Steve had looked into it because he wanted to vend there, but he said $800
yeah.
was a little bit out of his reach.
Yeah, like when I do the Clash, I forget what the Clash is, but the last Clash that I vended at, it was like 125 or $150 for like a 10-foot square, which that's you could do that easily.
Hmm.
Um, so I would rent two spaces.
Oh,
Like
okay.
yeah, the last couple Clashes I did, I'd rent two spaces. I had a big spot, and I'd bring as much stuff as I could fit in my Subaru Forester, and which was a lot. Believe it or not, I know how to pack that thing, and I could bring a little bit of everything. I'd have like different fish foods. I didn't do plants because I didn't do plants when I did the Clash, because you had Grant and Shelby. They were doing plants. There was a lot of people selling plants, so I you know, I could compete with them there, but I was like, let them have that game, and I'll do fish foods, botanicals, and pleco caves, and you know, driftwood and whatnot. I had enough stuff. So and then it was kind of nice not dealing with live goods
Hmm.
going out of town.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before. I've done an ACA in Connecticut, American Cichlid Association. One of actually my my home club, which is not really close, is still like 2 hours away when they do meetings. It's the New England Cichlid Association. They hosted the 2019 ACA in Cromwell, Connecticut, and that was actually like the first bigger event that I vended. And I did a lot of plants. I brought a lot of other stuff too, but like at the end of the show, the stuff that I didn't sell wasn't looking so hot too after 4 days sitting there on a table.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So you would recommend if feasible to do the events? Did you usually make a pretty good income off of those events or
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. You're doing it more for like advertising, get like
Exposure.
I say for exposure. I would break even at the Clash. Like the ACA, I probably broke even. I probably lost some money actually because I rented like a U-Haul for and had to pay for that plus the mileage. But then after that, I bought I have like a 5x8 box trailer. And I would use that at some of the events. But if it was like real far, I didn't want to pull it because I'd use a lot of fuel pulling that. But even someone like a local swap, there was a club that and I know Jesse from Just One More Fish knows her, Karen Haas. She's not like on YouTube a lot, so a lot of people don't know her. But within the Northeast, everybody knows her. She's real good. She's been a hobbyist for forever. But she started a club in near Allentown, Pennsylvania, and would do an annual swap. And she asked me if I'd come down and help promote it and work it. And then me and Michael would do it together and promote it. And it'd get like a big turnout. But I would bring a lot of stuff to that. And I would take my trailer down there. And I'd just fill that thing up. And I would do plants at that. And I'd kill them on plants. Because I was like, even against some of the hobbyists, I was cheaper than some of the hobbyists with their homegrown plants. I wasn't cutting throat. People would walk by and they were like, why are you cheaper than him? I was like, because I can. That's all. Yeah. I would tell them too. I said, I'm making money on it. I was like, it's like, that's what I feel like the going rate should be. I was like, I'm not here to rip you off. I'm here to sell you a product at a good price.
Yeah, I was very surprised the profit margins, especially with plants, more than anything else. Again, because in conversations I was having with Steve, because he's kind of in the plant business, Warrior Planet Tanks, and we would talk about that stuff. And some of those profit margins were pretty interesting because you start looking at what retail sells them for, and it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. And even at that point, they weren't necessarily very expensive either. But they're seeming to be, of all the things that are out there, that one seems to give you a little bit more of a profit margin.
So yeah, plants are good. And then doing tubbing, I'd even get into pond plants because I had access to that. I didn't stock a lot of pond plants, but I'd get in water lilies and a lot of different marginals, the different irises that would grow in the water, and pickerel and stuff like that. Easy plants that are good for filtering because I did the tubs too as a hobbyist. I was trying to breed fish outside.
Yeah.
So there's probably people that ended up with fish eggs because I had fish in the tubs too, which is okay. And I would get mystery fish from the nurseries. I would order in a bunch of water hyacinth. I'd end up with Florida flagfish. I would end up with different stuff. I'd end up with comet goldfish. I remember I emptied one of my tubs one year and I had goldfish in there, and I was like, where the hell these come from? But yeah, I just take them and sell them at the auction. I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
I don't want to. You go into an auction.
Yeah. You can pretty much almost get rid of anything in an auction. You'll probably give it away, but at least it'll be off your hands.
Didn't care. Yeah. And I go to a bunch of auctions, and I wonder why sometimes people even take the time to bag the stuff. It would go so cheap. I see a bag of 10 convicts go for $1.
Yeah, well, it's because anything over $1, nobody's, and it's always that sympathy buy, but at least somebody's gonna buy it. I mean,
Yeah. If you get
and
rid of it, you empty the tanks. So
yep,
that's a lot of
yeah,
times I would take fish to the auctions just because I needed tank space. I didn't care if I made that much on them.
yeah. That's how I end up. Every time I when what I haven't been this year, but when I go to our my local club, which is up in Phoenix, I'll end up buying a lot of the $1 gap guppy bags. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
just
especially if
because.
you wait till the end of the auction.
Yeah.
That's when I when I first got into business, I was hustling fish that I would flip too. That was another
Mm.
thing. So like 2017, 2018, I'd go to these auctions and I would stay to the end and I would pick up those real cheap bags of whatever. I'd come
Mhm.
home, tank them, make sure they were healthy, and then this is before Facebook started cracking down on selling live animals. I would just list them on the local Facebook groups, and I would go meet people. They would buy them. I'd make money on them. I made one time I bought, and then this wasn't even that long ago. It was maybe 6 8 months before I got sick, but a bag of like fancy goldfish went for $12. There was four in a bag, and they were like those Ryukin or
Mhm.
whatever. I don't know much about goldfish,
Yeah.
but there was four of them in a bag. They went for $12. I looked them up on my phone, and they were for the size they were like $28 $30 fish, something like that. I was like, hell yeah, I buy those. I made money on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, so
I
I was
usually
always
like picking
hustling.
up all the guppies that I can because it helps me introduce new genetics into my
Yeah,
tanks because they just keep reproducing in there, and if I don't do something about it, before you know it, a lot of them are coming out with bent spines and all these other
yeah,
stuff.
you got to introduce some new blood in the line.
And every time I if I try to keep the bloodlines fresh, I don't have to cull as much as because I'm not at this point I'm not breeding for lines or anything like that. Just healthy goldfish, healthy
Yeah,
guppies,
I
because
find.
that's what people want.
Yeah, I find with guppies, like the healthiest guppies are just muck guppies, the mixed
Yeah,
guppies versus like the pure lines. So you would find that you'd have a better quality fish. Might not be as pretty or whatever, but I tell you what, a lot of the mixed guppies they could rival. You can't you can't duplicate the
yeah,
line,
yeah.
but
But
but they
for a lot of the people that are buying those from me, they don't care. I don't know. I was telling somebody. I think I even mentioned it on one of the live streams. I was trying to straighten out lines. I had a couple of straight lines and they would look at them and they thought they were cool. But at the end of the day, they kept going to my coal tank and buying off of there. Plus, they were a lot cheaper too.
yeah
Where the straight lines that I had, I was trying to sell them for like $25 a trio. Over there, they were getting like probably five for $10 or something like that.
yeah.
So
I
they
kept
were
gup
they were buying those up all day long.
I kept a couple of lines. I had like the line of Dumbo mosaics that I used to make good money on. I used to get $25 $30 a pair for those, which is good. They're guppies, man. They breed easy, and
Yeah.
they were good looking. They bred consistent, but I got tired of guppies, and I only kept them just because I made money on them. I didn't keep guppies because I really liked them. Um, the fish that I really like or that I got into were the Gudeids, and I would sell those, and that's more of a niche. There's, when I got into it, there wasn't like a lot of people. There was Greg Sage, um, a couple people I knew like in the Chicagoland area that kept them, um, and then Ed Moats. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of people keeping them. But now they're getting more popular, um, and there's some good looking Gudeids. Then there's
Yeah.
some ugly ones too. But I kept them all. I kept as many species as I could find and get a hold of. So I think I had before I shut my tanks down, I had like 13 different species with location because and when I initially got into it, I didn't know about the locations like a lot of people don't know until you get educated and then you learn about the importance of the location points. So like all the aquarium strains that I got rid of those and then just started keeping Gudeids with their location points.
Well, I saw something pretty interesting today, which is not necessarily fish related, but it can be. I saw a news thing there on the internet where they were talking about how the reptile industry is being affected right now because of the tariffs that are coming into play,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of businesses were not being able to maintain in business because they're just not being able to buy all these species that they were importing. And I had already heard, like, obviously what affects the any of the pet industries is eventually going to come and affect us too. But one of the things that I was listening, I've heard a couple of people mention it that are in the know, that they highly recommend right now, if you're really considering going into business, if that's something you want to do, to try to breed your own inventory and not necessarily try to breed, say, like 20 or 30 different species, but pick 5 that you can breed quality, because more than likely, once the tariffs start hitting, your stock is going to start becoming in demand because it's going to be cheaper than importing. And
Yeah, it's hit the fish industry already. I know like the owners of Super Ciglets in Delaware. I know them real good. Martin and Lisa Hober. They're good friends of mine, and they import. And they buy local from local breeders too. But they do import, and that's already affected them. I know because they told me so. And I know Blake from Fish and Friends there in Pennsylvania. He opened a store in I think in Hanover. So I know him before he started opening the store, but I know he's mentioned it that it affected him too. So yeah, so it's a lot of different industries that it's affecting. Uh, Whether it's good or bad, that's up for the debate. People.
yeah,
That's politics. So
yeah, that's out of our hands. I mean, we don't have a say in that. We just,
yeah. So,
whatever gets handed down to us is the card we got to deal with. But
and then
I want
everything
to take a
else.
real
So
quick second to acknowledge Betta Fish Productions. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it very much. Um, but that's another right there, a fish that if you can breed, because a lot of those get imported. A lot of bettas are getting imported. Maybe now it's a time to start looking into trying to breed bettas, because that's a fish that's always in high demand.
oh yeah, definitely. Um, Yeah, I had access to. I didn't import myself just because I didn't have. I never bothered. I could. It's not. It's not like you can't do it. You just got to get the permits and the licensing or whatever it is. And I looked into it and just never followed through. But I have access if I still want. I have a wholesaler that's in Massachusetts, and there's another one down in North Jersey. Both are within about. They're both about the same driving distance for me, about 2.5 hours, something like that. But they import, and then you go buy from them. They provide a lot of fish to the local fish stores. But I I the price of bettas there, and the markup on those is pretty dang good,
Mm.
because I could buy them wholesale, and then I see what they retail for, and I was like, that's a pretty good markup. So I guess I could see why Petco they don't give a shit. So, and then they get people, oh, I rescued this sick betta at Petco. I was like, Petco's like, okay. I was like, you didn't
Yeah,
rescue nothing.
rescue all of them.
I was like, you paid for it. So they're happy you paid for it. You bought a sick fish. So yeah, they just restock.
Yeah, as soon as that one gets plucked off of there, they got one right behind it coming
Yeah.
in.
And if it dies on them, they're making a decent profit. So I don't know. That's one thing. Like the cost of fish is, you gotta, some of that is like the cost per fish can be pretty cheap, but like I say, you buy 100 of them, and 15 or 20 of them die. You gotta cover that cost too. So that's why there's the markup on the retail side of it. So if you see how fish can be imported, they,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones that are selling them from Thailand or Vietnam or Indonesia, and then China. That's usually the 3 or the 4 biggest places that you get them from. I mean, they pack like 100 bag or 100 fish per bag, so it's not too good, especially if they get hung up in customs or whatever. But yeah, back to like getting into the business is you just got to hustle. Like any business that you get into, you got to be willing to put in the time and hustle. And going back to when you asked me about going to the fish clubs and stuff, that was my hustle. That was my exposure. It's like I would go to everything within. I used to set like a 3-hour radius, so like anything within like 3 hours of my address, I would definitely hit it if they if I could.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I do envy about you guys in the East Coast. It seems like a big concentration of clubs and hobbies are all kind of located within a relatively short distance for you guys. And whereas if we're out here in the East Coast, I mean in the West Coast, we're so separated, and there's not a whole lot of stuff. Like LA, as big as LA is, they only have one fish club that I'm aware of, and they only do stuff once a month. And then San Diego is the other one. They might have two clubs. I think LA has like two clubs, but the other one's like a plant club. It's not even necessarily a fish club.
There's in my immediate area, there's nothing. You figured that we would have a club, and people have tried. It's just kind of fizzled out, and I even like volunteered to help. I said I can't be on the board or anything, but I'd help as much if someone wanted to like start one. But that always like fizzled out. But then my nearest home club's 2 hours away. I go into Massachusetts. I go down to Connecticut. There's another one in Connecticut, Norwalk Aquarium Society. It's like another home club. They treat me like family down there. And I travel down to see Alishan in Bucks County. I go down there. I never went to Aquarium Club in Lancaster, but I spoke for like the Cichlid Club of York. That was a long drive. That was probably 5 hours.
And see, that's what I call that's my radius usually, because that's anywhere I want to go at the bare minimum is like 3 hours. So I'm willing to. I consider everything local within a 5 hour, because I can do a trip. Go to an event, drive 5 hours to the event, hang out for the event, and then drive back all in one day.
Yeah.
It makes for a very long day, but it can be done.
5 hours is kind of pushing it. Like I said, I used to try to limit myself to like a 3-hour radius. Yeah. So if it was in 3 hours, I'd definitely go. But there's a couple that were like just like there's a club out in it's called South Coast Tropical Fish Society, I think it is, and they meet in like southern Massachusetts.
Okay.
Not far from Rhode Island, so I'd actually have to drive through Rhode Island to get to it. They were like on north of Cape Cod, so they were over 3 hours, and they're a relatively young club. They've only been in existence probably maybe only 4 years now, maybe 5 years. But once they started up, I told like the president, Andrew, I was like, man, I help you. And I used to promote them as much as I could, and then I'd go to their events. I wouldn't go to their monthly meetings. I'm not going to drive out there for a monthly meeting, but I would go to their, if they'd have a swap or an auction, I'd definitely go. And they used to allow me to set up a table too. So, and then some of the clubs would, some of them wouldn't, but I could set up a vendor table. And like no problem. I give them, I say, what you want for like a table fee. Some of them say, don't worry about it. Other ones is like, give me $20. I was like, here, goes to the club or whatever. Then I'd sell product, I'd pay for gas. I wouldn't make a lot of money, but again, it goes back to exposure and getting your name out there. So like people in the club circuit in the Northeast, they know who KJE Aquatics is, and definitely in the Northeast. And then like I would go out to Ohio Cichlid Association. They got a big event every year, which is a good one. If any of you guys that are in chat, look up the Ohio Cichlid Association extravaganza. That's usually the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But that's always a real good event, and it's very affordable. They've been holding it now. I think this is the 31st year. So they've been holding it every year for a while now, and they've been holding it in the same hotel. And I can say the hotel's not terrible, but it's not real great either. But it's affordable. You know, you stay at the hotel for $75 a night or $76 a night. That's cheap.
Yep.
You know, and like I said, it's a Best Western in Strongsville, Ohio. And like I said, it's not the Taj Mahal, but it's a very affordable event. 2023, I didn't vend it. I repped it for Fritz Aquatics also. So they covered the cost of my travel plus the hotel. And like I said, when I would rep for Fritz, I didn't get any salary. But again, you know, I wanted to go to the event, so I'm out there. You know, I got to talk about Fritz products. That's great. But I could also talk fish and you know, whatever else, you know, with fellow fish heads. So it was always great. And like the last one I went to, Oinky, you know, Crystal and Ed, Chattanooga Ed, they were there, so I got to hang out with them for the weekend. It was fun. There was a couple other people out there too from the fish fam. I just can't remember who it was. But that's a great event. It's affordable.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that whole name recognition, all that is because you were consistently attending to these events. Now, you did that for how many years though before you started noticing the name recognition?
Like in probably like maybe a year or two. That's it. Just because
Oh, okay.
I was there. You
You're so
know.
consistent.
Yeah, I was there and going there and and like I said, some of them didn't allow me to set up a vendor table initially, but then after, you know, I'd still go to the events, and I
Okay.
was there as like a hobbyist. I was bringing to the one club in Norwalk. I'd bring like 80 lots, so I'd bag 80. It wasn't all fish. I'd do fish, plants, I'd do dry goods, and I would donate to the clubs. That's the one thing, as I'd always donate to the clubs. I'd bring stuff, and I'd be like donated by KJE Aquatics, so I'd get recognition there, and it wouldn't be that much. You know, a jar of fish food, or you know, a bottle of water conditioner, or something like that, or some plants, or a bag of botanicals, or whatever. It's just I was always donating stuff, so that, you know, you give to the club, they get 100% of whatever it sells for. But then that's just this. You look at it as an advertisement, as, you know, write it off as advertisement. So yeah, it's getting your name out there and hustling with the clubs and stuff, which is good. And I get it back. I'd get like a lot of return business, fish food and plants especially. You know, people come back. Instead of going to Amazon, they would go to me because they knew me going to the clubs, and they'd be like, yeah, you know, KJE supports this club, you know. So
The other thing I wanted to ask you is how important do you feel branding is, you know, for your business? Is it something that's really important or something that, you know, when you're starting off, you don't have to worry too much about?
for branding,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important. I think you know, the people that know me, they see my logo now, and you know, they could just see that fish. And I
Mm-hmm.
found that fish kind of like at random on the internet. I didn't draw it. I don't know how to do all that shit.
Yeah.
So I just found it, and then I made that my logo, and I made it simple because it's easy to print.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I did it. I see some really cool logos in brands and stuff, but they got like a lot of color and a lot of detail. Try to print that. It's not so easy to print, or it's not so cheap to print. So branding. I say it's important. Don't I also say don't get like, I wouldn't worry about getting real elaborate on it. Try to you know, kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid. And then like I said, it's easier to print. It costs you less to print. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's well, if you think of all the iconic brands, Uh, they're usually monochromatic and the simplest. You know, you think of Apple, it's just a
Yeah,
silhouette of
Apple,
an apple
General
that's missing a
Electric.
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
GE
think
is
of
a G and a
Nike.
E. You know.
Yeah, Nike is just a swoosh. That's all
Yep.
it is. I mean, it seems to me that the one thing that I've always noticed is that you know the more important thing is that people recognize that can associate whatever it is you're putting out there as your brand, to stick with it. Because I see people constantly trying to update and change if they're especially if they're trying to get into business. Um, don't You're going to confuse people. You're going to lose them because you're constantly changing it up. It's once you determine that that's going to be your logo, stick to that. Keep it.
Yeah.
Try to make it as simple as possible. Um,
I
that
see
seems
that like in I get like in the fish fam, people change their names. I was like, I don't know who the hell. I just realized, I just figured out who you were with one name, then you change your name to something else. I was like, I don't know who the hell you are.
yeah. Yeah, it's just that with branding, it's all about consistency. That's the same thing with marketing. Um, I know it's gotten to the point now, and I've been approached by all these people that do custom logos all the time. They're always hitting me up. Oh, I can make your logo better. Really? What can you make better about my logo? And it's like,
I
well, I
get
can make
people.
it this.
Yeah,
You know, they want to add all this stuff. I said, all right. And I had one guy because he wouldn't leave me alone. I told him, no, I'm not interested. I'm fine with it. He goes, let me show you what I can do. And he sent me a bunch of them. And you look at them, there was supposed to have been like 20 different logos on there, and they all look very similar.
yeah,
And I said, okay, let me do something. So I took his picture and incorporated my logo, and I said, which one stands out the most? He goes, well, yours. I said, why? Then why do you want to change it?
yeah.
Why do you
Exactly.
want to make it look like everything else that you're making? But yeah, you're telling me that mine stands out over everything else you did there. And he goes, well, yeah, you're right. It's not finally got him off my back.
Yeah, that's what I said. In my opinion, I keep it simple. Keep it, like you said too. Keep it consistent. And from the beginning, like I said, I found that simple fish, online. I said, all right, I'm gonna go with that because I could print it easy. And initially, I'd print stuff myself here at home, and then and then I'd get like T-shirts printed before I Teespring or Printify. I'd get 100 T-shirts made. That shit's expensive too. It gets
Yeah.
expensive, even with a simple logo. And my logo was simple, but they're still $5, $6, $8 a T-shirt, and then you order 100 of them at a time when you don't have a lot of money. And then you gotta sit on that. So when I found Teespring, I don't suggest Teespring now. I think Printify has better quality. I use Printify. I know you guys had Car on the other day, um, but the reason I use Printify just because it incorporates with my
Your
website.
store. Yeah.
So I think Printify and Shopify are part of the same company. Um, they're related somehow, so
Yeah.
that all integrates. Um, but yeah, when that print on demand, I don't make no money off of merch. I don't. The stuff that's on there, I might make a few bucks, which ain't much after the shipping and all that. Um, but that's just advertising. But but the print on demand is like way better than when I would order like 100 T-shirts at a time and then have to sit on them, you know. And I rarely ever charge for those. I'd give them away. That was another thing I would donate to the fish clubs during the auctions. Would be KJE Aquatics merchandise. So everybody likes getting a T-shirt. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, but the whole thing with t-shirts that if you're in a business, you're probably going to end up just it's promotional material at the end of the day.
yeah, that's how it's like that. That's all. With Printify now, I don't sell a lot of merch, but people do buy it every now and then, and I appreciate it. Um, but just know I'm not making any money on it. You're buying it to support me and advertise for me. So and,
Yeah,
and that's why I appreciate that. So and then every now and then on a live stream, um, like on Depths Unknown, I gave a T-shirt away the other day. Barbara Jackson won it, so I went on Printify and ordered it manually, and she got a t-shirt. So
Yeah, the nice thing about having those accounts is that, like you said, it's not inventory that's sitting that you're holding on to, or you're not having to go chase it down. It's like the print on demand stuff where, but yeah, there's probably not a whole lot of money that's being made off of that. It's just
no, I mean, you could
getting,
jack it up and make a profit. You could adjust the profit margin yourself, but no one's gonna buy a t-shirt for $60.
no.
Yeah, well, at least I'm not. I could tell you that. I mean, even if it was Gucci or Ralph Lauren or anything, I'd be like, no, I ain't paying that. You know?
I think my cutoff is about $20 for a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if I go somewhere to an event or something and they're selling t-shirts, yeah, you're about right. 20,
Yeah, it's about 20
$25
bucks.
if I really want it. You
Yeah.
know, I think the last t-shirt I bought of a business was like Duff's in Buffalo, which is like a well-known place for chicken wings in Buffalo. I bought one of their t-shirts and I think it was like $24 or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think and I think in reality most t-shirts are $24.99, $25. That's really
Yeah.
what they are.
Yeah.
$25. You know, you can still find $30. I don't know. 25, I think is my cutoff, really. Anything
Yeah,
under 25,
about there. I think I
it,
got some on my website that are like 30, but that's like there's no profit margin. And so whatever Printify charges me, I
yeah.
might mark it up, 10% or something like that. And then that's about it. There's no profit in merchandise. Not really. But I suggest if you're a business that to have something available, you know, because people do buy it, you know. I know when I used to scuba dive, my buddy that owns a dive shop that I used to teach for down in South Alabama, he sold merchandise, and have like different pictures on it, but have the name of his dive shop on the chest. He sold a lot of those, so I used to get them for free, but he he sold a lot of those. So yeah, anything with your business on it, I would suggest having it available.
Yeah, the only time you really start making any money, but you got to be able to buy in large quantities, and that's somebody. The only person that's going to make money off of merch like that would be somebody like Aquarium Co-op, where
Yeah,
they can have 1,000 t-shirts print at once,
yeah,
and then they might be turning a profit on those t-shirts.
yeah. You guys sell a lot of them. So there was for like embroidered stuff. There was a website that I used, and I used to buy stuff from them for like to wear to shows. I never sold it or gave it away, but I would get embroidered stuff, and it was a company down in, I think they're in North Carolina, called Queensboro, Queensboro.com. They do embroidered stuff, and they're reasonable. But again, that was just for my own use. Um, but yeah, but
Yeah, no. So that like I said, I do appreciate the fact that that you have some of that insight and that you're willing to share it, especially because there's always that idea that's in most hobbyists, that's always in the back of their mind is like, what if I decide to do this like a side hustle? I think a side hustle works more than if you're trying to do it full time.
yeah,
Side hustle, you can pull it off and you're still going to end up working a lot because if you're going to go to an event or even a swap, you still got to bag stuff. You got to make, there's all that added stress of attending an event.
when I
You know,
yeah when I did swaps or like when I did like a bigger event, where I'm going to be there for a couple days, like the Clash, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So just be prepared for that. So yeah,
long hours too.
yeah, yeah. I worked more hours. Not that it wasn't like like physical, but it's still stress and long hours. Um, but but I also think that if it's your own business, I don't
Yeah.
you I don't think I didn't mind it as much. I kind of like I used to really look forward to going to auctions and swaps. I used to love it, even though I was bagging 80 bags of different things, or for for an event, for an auction or whatever. I I always look forward to it. You know, I just didn't always look forward to the long drives because nothing was really close. And I live in a small town, but I live within we call it the capital region. So Albany, New York's the capital of New York. So you got Albany, Schenectady, Troy, New York. And then I'm not far from Saratoga. So you gotta it's a big area. There's no
Mhm.
big cities. Albany is not that big for a city. It's decent size, but it's not that big. But if you count the whole capital region, it's a big area. So, and we only have like two local fish stores. I don't count Petco or PetSmart.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
count
those.
them. They don't qualify. Um, you go there to get cheap tanks. That's it.
Yeah.
I would never even recommend people buying fish food there because all the fish foods that like PetSmart and Petco sell to me are garbage. There's some big brands, but they're garbage. Um, but yeah, go there for tanks. But for your fish, we only had like two pet stores, and one of them, the guy used to buy fish off me. Then he fucked me, and so I wouldn't deal with him no more. It took him 6 months to pay me $80 for some angel, to pay. Took him 6 months to pay me $100 for a bunch of angelfish, like 6 months, and he kept telling me the check was in the mail. I was like,
Uh,
6 months, and the dude had money. He has like five stores or six stores within the capital region. Not all of them sell fish. Only a few of them sell fish.
yeah.
But he sells dog food, cat food. That's where he makes his money. He even told me, he says, I don't make shit on fish. He says, I make money selling dog and cat food. So, but yeah, it took him 6 months to pay me $100. So yeah, fuck you. So yeah. And then the other local fish store I have was decent. Um, they get good quality stock. I knew where they get their wholesale stuff from, so I would look at the wholesale list and get them. I didn't want to buy 20 of them. I wanted to buy two, and he would order some in for me sometimes. The Wet Spot has a wholesale side to their business. It's called Cichlid Exchange. That's their
Okay.
wholesale business, and it's a separate business from their retail store. But you could look and see what they got, and if you didn't want to pay for the shipping from the Wet Spot, you could see if your local fish store, if they did business with Cichlid Exchange, they could wholesale them and bring them in.
Hmm.
So
So let me ask you this: for people that are wanting to support you, what would be the best way for them to do that? To go to your store and buy product off of there, or is there a GoFundMe or?
I had a
Um,
GoFundMe. Like uh, Michael's Fish Room set that up initially, and I appreciate it. And a lot of people actually donated, which it helped out a lot because, but I don't have GoFundMe no more.
okay.
Um, I don't want any charity, but if you wanna support KJE, yeah, go to my website kjeaquatics.com. If, I have fish food on there. If you use botanicals for black water, or don't even have to be black water. If you just want to use them, just for decoration, we got different stuff. That um, like I said, I sell the fish food, and I have a few other odds and ends. I used to stock a lot more. I used to stock like a whole bunch of Fritz Aquatics products, and
Yeah.
I would try to keep a little bit of everything. But like I said, the inventory's kind of dwindled down, so I don't have as much as I used to. Um, but yeah, if you wanna support, even like I said, if you want to buy merch, like I said, I don't make no profit, but you know, I support the. I mean, I appreciate the advertising. So
Yeah. Well, the idea is to be able to get you at least a little bit of an income source or something like that. So
yeah,
if people are always needing some sort of fish food or something like that. So that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. If they can go there, and that would be two ways to be able to support your business
yeah.
and you personally too. So
Yeah, when
thank
when I
you,
got first
thank you, Didi.
when I first got diagnosed, and the community found out about it, like I said, uh, they had to GoFundMe that Mike set up, and a lot of people donated. I appreciate it, and a lot of people bought stuff. So like my plant inventory at the time, that like got cleaned out like real fast, and then different stuff, and um, certain people like bought a lot of stuff. Like you guys say like Jeff Kane supports the community. Jeff Kane bought like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Dee bought a ton of stuff. I can't remember who else bought like a lot of stuff, but I know those two, they bought a lot of stuff. So with I appreciate every order, but they were like, oh, we're gonna fucking clean Keith out. I was like, okay. So yeah, I even had like a big spare air pump that I never put in use. I bought it used, but it was basically, it wasn't brand new, but it was barely used. It was like a Gemco 100. I forget the exact model, but that was like for future expansion. But I was like, I'm never going to use that. And then like Jeff's like, I'll buy it. So this thing was heavy. He paid for the shipping too. And he says, I'll buy it. So that's probably what's running this fish room now. This big ass Gemco pump. So yeah. I got another one. I still haven't unplugged it and took it apart yet, but I got an Elite 40. But I might not sell that. You never know. I might set some tanks back up later. I still got a bunch of tanks. I gave a few away locally, but I still have most of them. They just don't have anything in them. So,
yeah, I have an Elita. It's a 15A. It's not a very big one, but that little thing is a workhorse. And I love how quiet it is.
Elita. I mean, when people ask me, they recommend, or they ask me what's a good air pump to run a fish room. That's the brand I recommend. It's quiet. Doesn't get real hot. I had one of those cheap ones off of Amazon, like a Coral Life or something like that, Aqua Life. That thing was so loud, and you couldn't touch it. It would burn you. I used it outside for the tubs. It's still outside. It ran.
Yeah. They run forever. I mean, I have to admit, that's what I ran my fish room for the first couple of years, was off of one of those.
Yeah.
And then AQQA reached out and asked me if I wanted to do a promotional video for them. And I got their biggest air pump that they had. They had this new design that it almost looks like a coil. It's got like a round cylinder with a bunch of stuff around it. And it's a small little pump. It's probably no bigger than probably about the size of a cell phone, if that.
Okay.
And that's a great little pump. I swear that little pump, it changed my fish room drastically, because you would always hear this constant hum in the back of my videos. That went away.
That's what my Elita, the Elita, I mean, I ran as Elita 40. I don't know the recommended, like, I don't even know how the CFMs or whatever. I don't know how you even figure that out. But the 40, I know I ran 50 tanks with probably over 60 drops, because I'd run extra, more than that, probably 70 drops, because I'd run extra filters in the tanks. And I never had the issue. It still had room to do more. So it's a good pump.
Danger. I hadn't seen Lalo in a long time.
Hey, Eduardo.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just kind of, AQQA it's a sister company of Hager, but I don't know what I think there were two independent companies, and they kind of one of them bought the other one out.
Okay.
Because that's what Mike was pointing out. And I asked him, I said, is AQQA a rebranding of Hager? And the rep, she kind of didn't like me asking. She was like, no, we're our own company.
Okay.
We're under the same umbrella, but we're a different company. I said, okay. Yeah. But I don't know. Their products some of them are similar, but I don't, right now, the one that is really, really branching out is Hager. I was watching a video where what was the product there? I think they're starting to get into like canister filters, and they're trying to dip into that market.
The only problem with Hager, I had one of their lights I bought. It wasn't given to me. They reached out and wanted me to do product review, and I told them no.
Yeah.
But I had bought one of their lights for for I don't know 30-inch light, and it didn't last that long. That thing, it didn't last long. Other people said theirs last good, but so that's my personal experience when they're lights. And then my other experience wasn't with me; it was with Mike. Mike did a couple of their product reviews, and he did one on one of their products. And Mike's honest,
Yeah.
and it was a piece of
Yeah.
shit. And he basically he said it in nicer ways, but on his video he was like, yeah, I don't recommend this. It's not good.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like a piece of shit. They contacted him again and asked him to take the video down, and Mike's like, "Fuck you." He's like, "I ain't taking shit down." So I was like, "If you don't want me to review a product, honestly, don't ask me to review a product." So that sours me on Higer. I know a lot of people in the community use them. They like them because they're inexpensive.
Yeah, I tried doing one review of their products and that didn't go well. Just the communications wasn't good. I don't know if it's changed.
Yeah.
The product they sent me to review was used, and I was like, I'm putting that in my aquarium. I don't know where it's been.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. But whatever, to each their own. Everybody has their own opinions. I mean, I got a lot of opinions. I'm opinionated, so kind of gets me in trouble sometimes. but yeah, like lights that I've used that I actually had good luck, and they might all be made in the same factory. I don't know, but there's ones like I used to buy on eBay called Beamsworks.
Yeah,
and then another company called Night Crew, and I would usually get them on eBay. Probably the same sellers that are on Amazon. I have no idea, but I try not to use Amazon, so Amazon doesn't get any cut. So if there's like a product that's on Amazon that I wanted to buy or wanted to try out, I'd usually go to eBay and find the same exact thing, and it's usually the same price too, just so I didn't have to support Amazon, because Amazon, I don't know. There's a lot of pros and cons, I guess, for Amazon, but Amazon's they're bad. They're bad for mom and pop businesses.
yeah, yeah. They're a convenience for consumers, but they're destroying all the small businesses.
And a lot of people, a lot of independent sellers sell on Amazon, but their profit margin is like, you got to sell volume, because Amazon takes a big cut.
Yeah.
So Amazon's making money and they don't even have to do shit. So I don't know. I know a lot of businesses that sell on Amazon, but their profit margin is like very minimal, and they just got to sell volume. To me, it's not. I looked into it just for a couple products that weren't on Amazon that I sell, and then you got people cutting throat too, like on Fritz Aquatics. There's a thing called MAP, manufacturer's allowed price. So when they tell me, I get XYZ product, they say this has to sell for $10. That's the minimum. That's the minimum you could sell it for. I could sell it for $12, but the lowest I could advertise it for is $10. So I stick to those rules because that's their rules. And if you violate them, then they you're not going to go to jail, but you can't rep that. I mean, if you consistently violate them, they say you're not going to sell our product no more.
Yeah.
And that hurts you too. But if you go on Amazon, like I use Fritz for an example, there's a product that I got to sell for $16. I can go on Amazon and someone's selling it for $13. And I'm like, WTF, and then you reach out to the manufacturer and they're, oh, we'll check into it. Nothing never happened.
Yeah.
So it's cutthroat, and I don't know how they do it because the profit margin is like minimum. I was like, all right, you making like a nickel on this thing? You can't survive on a nickel. So, but I don't know. There's a lot of that on Amazon. People cutting each other's throat. They were doing, someone was doing that with Northfin for a while, and Northfin finally got a hold of it and supposedly fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked in a long time. I used to check, but supposedly they fixed it. That's what the owner of Northfin told me. He said they got that all taken care of and got it fixed. So But yeah, for a while there, I was like, all right, you know, it's $8. I got to sell this bag of fish food for $8, and but I can go on Amazon and someone's selling it for $6.99 plus free shipping. I was like, how's that work?
Man, I gotta piss again. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me go. I close my window out. Let me see. Mexico. So we got 42 people now here. Listen to me shoot the shit.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I know. I have the size of a baby. No kidding. That's because I sit at work all day and I drink water all day long. So by the time I get off, that's when I got to go empty it. And then I drink coffee before the live stream, and that's a diuretic, so it doesn't help.
Oh yeah. It's either be pissed or be making you shit. So.
It's piss for me. But yeah, it's true. I don't have a very big bladder. I can't hold it for too long.
Okay.
But that's let's see. They're asking you what is your personal number one favorite food for, I'm assuming, for fish food.
Fish food?
Yeah.
Dr. Basler. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I learned about it, was because of you.
Yeah, it's not like it's a really good food. It's more popular in Europe, obviously, because that's where it's manufactured in Germany. But it's there's a good variety. So, and it's a lot of the food. It's all of them can be fed every day. But like if you look at the different formulas, they're like a holistic medicine. But they could be fed every day. Like just for an example, like Dr. Basler, they have a garlic formula, so that's good for to entice appetite. You know, you bring in some new fish, they might be stressed or whatever, not eating, and it's also good for their gut. Same way with like the Dr. Basler pumpkin is good for their gut health. But you could feed them all like every day. But it's good to have a few different varieties. Just it's good regardless if you use Dr. Basler or any other fish foods. You don't want to eat the same thing every day. So you know, if you had to eat steak every day, you would eventually get tired of steak. Even though I love steak, you know, you get tired of it. So you wanna switch it up. So I do recommend that. And if you buy fish food in bulk, I recommend that you know, take a little bit, put it in a smaller container or a smaller jar, and then put the bulk in tightly sealed container and keep it in your freezer, and it stays fresher longer. But for the home hobbyists that only have a few tanks, don't buy big jars of fish food. It goes constantly opening it and stuff. And a lot of people they'll put their fingers in the water or put their fingers in the water and then dip it back in the fish food jar or fish food bag, and then you kind of contaminate and ruin your fish food too. So
yeah, I guess Punk was saying that he looked into selling it, but he didn't know if people were going to buy it. But that would seem to be one of your better selling products on your
you got to know
website.
How to sell it. You got to know how to sell it, because it's not like, for example, like Northfin's real good food too. Northfin's made up in Canada, and it's a really good product. But Northfin, it's a little bit more simpler. They have like a Northfin cichlid, so they got the cichlid formula. Then they got Northfin Community, and like Dr. Basler, you got Dr. Basler pumpkin, you got Dr. Basler garlic, you got Dr. Basler chlorella. And some people, you know, if they're the average consumer, they see it at the jar, they'd be like, what the hell is this? You know? But if they see like the bag of fish food that says cichlid on it, then they'd be like, oh, that's has a good formula for cichlids. So it's more simple. So that's the only negative. And then I've talked to. I mean, I've been on like Zoom meetings with it's Aquarium Monster is the parent company of Dr. Basler Foods.
Okay.
The company's called Aquarium Monster because they do more than fish food. They do everything. They do filter media. They do in Germany. They even import like driftwood. They sell driftwood and all that. They don't sell it over here, but filter medias and they're partnered with on the salt side. Tropic Marin, I think, is they're partnered with them. There's a company, but they do everything. But I've been on, like I said, going back to talking to them. I've talked to them about trying to make it here in the United States to make it more simpler, just on the selling aspect of it, because it's kind of confusing. But that's where I would, educate people about the brand when I would go and talk to people in person. So you got to know how to sell it and got to know how to, what it is. But it's really good food. To me, it's the best commercially made food. The fish you'll see a lot less fish waste. So they poop less, meaning they're using the nutrients. So if you're feeding low quality food, it just passes right through them and it turns into number 2. So that's and the fish aren't getting the proper nutrition. That's a lot of with flake food too. Even good quality flake doesn't beat pellet food because a lot of the nutrients in flake food they'll wash out a lot faster once it hits the water.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot more waste and so.
Yeah, no, I know Alishon was talking about the size of the pellets that, the XL is not as very big, but it's something that I have noticed. And coincidentally, after noticing that, I heard a conversation on a podcast, and I'm trying to think if it was a guy from New Zealand. What's his name? Is it Chad? No, I forget, but they were talking about there had been a study or something they had seen where it's almost better to feed your fish the smaller granule pellets than it is the bigger ones. You prevent a lot of digestive situations when they're eating the smaller pellets, even for bigger fish, which that's the part that I found very interesting. And it was something that I was doing not necessarily by choice, but because predominantly my fish in my fish room are smaller fish, kind of like in the nano.
Yeah.
And then I have my angels, which are a little bit bigger, and I had a tilapia that was a pretty good sized fish. And I fed everybody exactly the same small 0.5 millimeter pellet.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was doing it for a while there. I started doing it with the tilapia, especially to see if there was a drastic change in body mass or something that would indicate that they weren't receiving all the nutrients that they were supposed to be receiving. And I didn't notice a difference. I mean, he was just probably eating more pellets instead of eating 1 or 2 big ones.
Yeah. Like Galashan, he like that can be confusing with the Dr. Basler. Like the Dr. Basler medium pellet, you figure medium is going to be, decent size. And that's my number one seller is the medium pellet, but it's only a 0.5 millimeter, so it's really small. And that was my number one seller. But a lot of fish that you could feed like little rasbors or CPDs. That you could also angelfish will eat it too.
Mm-hmm.
Your acaras are going to eat that same. They'll eat the same size pellet. So that So the pellets are smaller. The pellets for Dr. Basler, the pellets are smaller than what you would think. It's like the medium's only a 0.5 millimeter. The large is like 1.5 millimeter. The extra large is only 3 millimeter. So it's not even that big.
Yeah, but and I was also listening to somebody. I wish I could remember who was talking about these topics, but at least the information I retained. And they were saying like problem with big fellas, the real common Hikari food food they sell for like Oscars and stuff like that. The problem is that even you're already feeding it a pretty good sized pellet. Well, they're going to eat 3 or 4 of those things, and once it starts getting into their digestive system, they start expanding, and that's why you have a lot of those fish that suffer from bloat and stuff like that. Is because the pellet size is way too big, and it starts expanding in their stomachs, and it could potentially create a problem for them. So they were also recommending. You'd be surprised how much better your fish are going to be responding if you feed them smaller food than you would think that instinctually you would think to feed them. And like I said, I've seen it with my angelfish. I feed them exactly the same thing. It's that 0.5 millimeter, and they're fine, and they're not going hungry. they're gonna find the food.
No, yeah, and yeah, and they probably they digest it better and probably draw more nutrients out of it. You know.
Yeah, well, but it is the Basileir food that I'm feeding them, and now that Funk is selling food, I've been buying some of his, and I purposely buy the smaller pellets that he has, and that's been working fine also.
Yeah.
And what I like about what he did with his is that he mixed like sinking pellets and floating pellets because he's thinking of like community tanks where you have the entire water column to have to feed. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool. That's like a little niche that I guess wasn't out there in the food industry that he's kind of trying to fill. And
yeah, he's right. There's, it's either like you buy most commercial foods, they either float or they sink.
Yep.
Or slow sink. Some like the Dr. Basileir food, it depends on the size. Like the smaller pellets, if you when you feed them, if you don't throw them in the tank and you just kind of like lay them gently, they'll float longer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you throw them in the tank, then they're gonna sink fast.
Yeah.
So. But
but
that's my favorite food. So they go back to that, and then Northfin. I've sold Northfin for a long time. Used Northfin. Northfin's good food. The only problem with those two products is they're affected by the tariffs because they're all imported. So yeah,
I know.
I don't know.
Darius there for a while was
right
willing to give samples to anybody that reached out to him. I don't know if that's the thing that's going to be possible anymore. Because
yeah, Northfin supports the clubs, and Dr. Basileir does too. If you reach out, they don't, probably not as much as Northfin, but Alishan knows who supports the club and who don't, because he hits everybody up for Bucks County, so he knows that answer. But I know they would get a nice selection from Northfin every year for their auction. Yeah. And then Northfin also, I know, like Salient, Jesse.
Yeah.
He Northfin sent him a bunch of food.
Yeah, I think he's a brand ambassador or something like that.
Yeah. So they sent him a bunch of food, which probably tickled him to death. He got a bunch of good stuff. It's really good food. And I know they support the clubs too. So I know one of the other big brands, like real big brands, if you reach out to them to support the club, they want the whole email list of the club members. That's what they ask for. So then I guess they could spam them with advertisement or whatever. I don't know what they would do with it, but I know for a fact that there was a couple clubs who were like, no, we're not giving out that information. You just keep your donation. We don't want it. And that was
I wonder if they're trying to see if it's a legitimate club, but I mean,
no, a lot of the clubs are registered, nonprofits.
Yeah.
So you got you have some kind of nonprofit ID number or whatever. So they could write all that off. So when they donate, that's just a write off for them. If they want to, they want to write it off or not, that's up to them, but they can. But yeah. Actually, most clubs are registered. I would say more than not are registered nonprofit. So yeah, it's one way to prove you're legit. So, but I know I know, you know, some of the manufacturers probably get hit up by a bunch of, you know, content creators wanting sponsorship, or I have
Yeah.
people hit me up all the time. I used to get people hit me up and want me to sponsor. I was like, I ain't got no money to do that. I was like, I mean, I would do like certain people that were like my friends. I know I sent you stuff, like
Yeah.
people that are like that I know are actually gonna, you know, support me, and they're my friends, like Mike. You know, I would send some stuff to Mike every now and then, but he would get a lot of stuff. I would tell him, hey, I'm gonna send you a jar of this. Do a video on it. And he said, let me see if I can get it so you don't have to pay for it. And he would contact the manufacturer, and they would, a lot of times they would send it to him, and then, you know, I didn't have to front it. But there was times I would send him stuff. I'd say, here, you know, I'd send him a box or whatever, XYZ, and I was like, do a video on it. You know, like he did a video on feeding Rapashi foods when I was selling Rapashi foods. He did a video, and then I took his YouTube video. It's not on the website I have now, but I had a different website before what I have now. But then, like on the Rapashi foods, I took his video and I attached it to my website, so people, and it helped promote his channel too. So kind of help each other out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but there's been other people in the community that's done product reviews. You know, I ask them. You know, I'd be like, here, this is something new I got in. Do a video on it for me. I send them a product. You know, and they'd be like, yeah, we got it from KJE Aquatics. It goes back to exposure again too.
Yeah.
And then on that subject, exposure is, and this is like a no-brainer, but you see a lot of businesses don't do it. They don't have no social media presence. Like, have social media presence. I know, like Tank Talk the other night, I usually don't watch their show with John and
Jason.
Yeah, but they had a show just recently. I think it was the last one they did. But it was like, why are local fish stores dying? You know? And they were talking about some of the things that they see that local fish stores could do better. And one thing is like social media exposure. Some of the local fish stores, they don't have, you know, they don't do anything on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. You know, like the two local fish stores I have, only the one, he does a Thursday, and he does it on Facebook, and like 10 people watch it, so it's not really that good. But he does like Thursday tank tours. So every Thursday he goes around and does a tour of their fish room at the store and shows what they got in stock, and it's alive, so people could ask questions. But again, you go on and there's like 10 people on there, so it's not. But I would, if I was him, I would take that from Facebook, since you're not getting a lot of exposure, and maybe try to build a small YouTube channel. You know, you know, get in the become part of Fish Fam. You know, there's, I don't know how many members.
Just being able to use social media as a free advertisement platform. I mean,
that's why
what better example than Aquarium Co-op?
Yeah,
as being one of the most successful, to be able to benefit from using a free media to advertise your business. So
that's how my YouTube channel. I started doing like a few little bullshit videos and stuff, just playing around. And I never edit nothing, because I don't have the patience, or I don't have the patience, or I don't even have the want to edit. You know what I mean?
You're like,
I made a couple where I edited it on like ClickChamp or something like that. I made like a couple little short things, and even doing those little short videos took me like 2 or 3 hours, and it was like not even a 5-minute video. And I was like, I ain't got time for that. I'm just gonna wing it. But then I started doing the plant unboxing. So when I'd go and get stock, and they were all different times. I didn't have no set time, because I'd go to the airport, I'd get the stock, and then I would unbox it. And that was the live that I started doing, and that increased my plant sales a lot.
Because as a consumer, you're seeing what's coming in.
Yeah.
So you're getting firsthand information as to what hit your inventory.
Yeah. And initially, I would do the unboxing, then I would go update the inventory on the website. And that was a stupid way to do it. Someone suggested, they say, why don't you, because I get the packing list. So I get the packing list. So I know I got 10 of these, I got 10 of these, I got 10 of these. I could take just take the packing list off the outside of the box and update the inventory, then do the video. And I was like, man, you're smart. Because while I was doing the video, say I only got 10, but a customer might want 8 of them. You know, during the video, it'd be like, oh, you only got 10. They would go to the website and buy them right
8.
there while I'm still talking. So,
Yeah.
But there was a couple times I would do that, and sometimes the stuff wouldn't be in good condition, you know, or I'd be shorted something. So I'd update the website, and I'm supposed to have 10 of them, and then the nursery forgot to put them in the box. That's happened before. So I'd have to go adjust it, but then someone would buy them in the meantime, and then I'd have to like, oh shit. And then I got to
reach
email
out to them, let
like,
them
sorry,
know
inventory was off. So
yeah.
But that happens. But no, just doing those videos, those lives, that increased business like a lot. And then they were like, okay, you know, Keith got these plants in. I need a jar, because I charge flat rate shipping. It's flat rate. So it'd be $9.99. You could buy 1 bottle of fish food, or you could buy the whole website out. I'd still only charge $9.99 shipping. And for the most part that worked out, but I'd get screwed sometimes, but is what it is. But you know, other times I charge $9.99 shipping, it would cost me $7 to ship it. So, but more times it would cost me more. So, but that's part of doing business. People say, why don't you offer free shipping? And I was like, nothing's free. Even the websites that, you know, you got to spend $69.99 to get free shipping.
Yeah.
You know, that free shipping, it hurts that business, but they do a minimum, and then the volume most of the time, you know, they lose profit because nothing's free, but they still make out ahead. It's just their profit margin's less.
Yeah. Well, you know, shipping got real expensive when Aquarium Co-op went to charging for.
Oh yeah, shipping. And they just jacked the rates up. USPS just jacked the rates up just recently, and like a lot. Like a flat rate box went from, I don't know, $20. Now it's like 27.
Oh shoot!
For like a large flat rate.
Like
the flat rate. And then if you guys do get into shipping, I suggest not always just automatically ship flat rate, because a lot of times, that depending on where you're shipping, a lot of times the flat rate, the post office, they're making money on that.
Yeah.
That flat rate shipping. So it's better to do it by weight for the most part. Again,
I remember I had a ship. I forgot what it was, and I put it in one of the flat rate envelopes.
Yeah.
And after I paid, but it was after I paid for it, the cashier goes, if you're going to continue to ship this stuff, don't use the flat rate. We'll weigh it. It's going to be cheaper. And I was like, well, now you tell me.
Yeah. Like I could ship like, you know, if I ship within the Northeast, I could ship like relatively, I mean, it's not like inexpensive, but it's reasonable. But if I ship that same box to California, it's like triple the price. So it all depends on where it's going. Like, you know, I could ship something to Philadelphia for $8. I ship that same box to California, and it's $20, you know, $25. So that's where, so I did like $9.99 flat rate shipping, and which it worked out good. Like I said, and then that's when I started, like initially I started with the plants, but then I started carrying more product. I started carrying more product because I went to a trade show that they used to have. It was called, I think it was called Aquatic Experience or Aquarium Experience. I forget what it was, but it was like an Aquashella, but it was, it had all the, like the big manufacturers and stuff like that. And they had one in New Jersey. They had a couple in New Jersey. And I the first one I went to, it was right outside of New York City. So they're trying to draw the traffic from the New York City metro area. So
okay.
So I went to that one as a plant retailer to talk to, because Tropica was there and one of my other suppliers was there. I was one of the first Tropica retailers in the United States. So they were there. So I went to meet them there. And then I was just walking around and talking to some of the other manufacturers, and some of them would talk to me and some of them wouldn't, you know, because they were like, oh no, we only deal with like a brick and mortar. I was like, well,
okay.
I'm just small online, like real small. And at the time, I didn't even have a website. I was hustling through Facebook, man. That's Facebook was my side hustle. But then I met one big distributor, and they were like, listen, it was like, as long as you're legit, you got tax ID, you're a legit business. There's like, to us, money's money. You know, they say we got a minimum order. If you can meet the minimum order, I forget what it was. It was a lot at the time for me. It was like $500 or $700, something like that. So to have to front that much money initially, and then just sit on the product, it's like, it's kind of hard when you're just like a little bitty guy. But I made a couple orders. I managed to like scrape my pennies together and make a couple orders. That's when I started bringing in product, and I would just bring in stuff that was like real common. Like I eventually got on the Fritz bandwagon and sell their products, but you know, I sold CCAM Prime and a couple other like CCAM products and Cordon products and stuff like that. And I sold some Hikari food, even though I don't like Hikari, but people like those little Hikari fake bloodworm things. I forget what they are, but I sold those just to have product and make a buck. And like I said, if you wanted to buy plants, and, you wanted to buy plants and you needed a jar of fish food, you can get it all at the same place and same shipping cost. And the thing with buying with me, and it's not a lot of places, no matter where you buy now, they charge you tax. But me being so small, the only place I have to collect tax is in the state of New York.
Okay.
If you buy something from me, you save whatever percentage is. Like here in New York, sales tax 8%. So you bought from me, you would save an additional 8%. So that I would promote that too. I was like, yeah, forget the IRS, forget the tax. I was like, you still buy from me. I don't collect out of state tax. I don't have to. My accountant says I don't have to. I don't. That's up. It's actually up to the consumer, but they don't do it. But so yeah, I don't charge out of state tax. The only place I collect tax, my website collects tax, is in the state of New York.
Yeah, I think it's like the same for me. If when I was living in California, as long as I ordered out of the state of California, I didn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
If I ordered from California, I had to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And I don't know
now
about
you
here
go
in Arizona.
Yeah. And Amazon used to be the same way. You buy on Amazon, as long as it wasn't, because Amazon for the longest time only had a few warehouses. And they didn't have one for the longest. Now they got a warehouse everywhere.
Yeah.
They're doing same day delivery and stuff for different things. Like within the capital region where I'm at now, Amazon, I think we got like four warehouses within probably a less than a 50-mile radius. But yeah, as long as that business, you know, didn't have a presence within that state, they didn't have to collect sales tax.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of them do now, but then that makes it a nightmare because each state's different. When you do your taxes at the end of the year, you collect tax. And like I said, you don't have to. So that's another thing. If you start a business, just talk to your accountant or whatever. Or if you do it yourself, I know in the state of New York, if someone in New Jersey buys something from me, they don't pay sales tax.
Trying to take care of a little bit of housekeeping, because I wasn't paying attention, but Jeff pointed it out that there was a few people in the live stream. I tend to moderate everybody because it's the easiest way to get to people's links.
Yeah, I noticed the other day I had a hammer and then it went away.
Or yours is not?
Yeah.
On my live stream?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take care of that.
I don't have it pulled up now. I was in there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll take care of it. I think let me see if it, because it only lets me go so far back.
Yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, it does make it nice. So like, if you're chatting with somebody and you wanna check out their
well,
channel, you could just click on
yeah,
it.
the whole idea is to be able to support other channels, and the easiest way to do it. And I saw Father Fish do that first, and I thought that was pretty cool. But for me, the biggest thing is if I see a new channel that I don't recognize, it makes it much easier to just hit their name, go to their channel and find them that way, because not it's not always the case that the name that appears in the chat is the same one that is associated with the channel.
Yeah.
And some, or if it's like something fishy, which is, I see that everywhere. Trying to narrow it down to which of the something fishies is, it could be difficult. So by you having a wrench, it makes it real easy. You see the person's name, you click on it, and then you go to their channel. And if you choose to subscribe, that's the easiest way to do it that
Yeah.
I've found. And then also to be able to post links, you don't have to wait for one person to do it. Everybody here, if they're pretty good, like they've dropped your link for your site already, for your store. So, and it gives anybody that the ability to do that too, which I
Yeah.
greatly appreciate.
I noticed like within, I don't know about like on other channels, but like within the Fish Fam, you don't really get like a bunch of spammers or you know.
You get them once in a while, but I noticed that this format that I use, where you're not using the live stream vertical,
Yeah.
you tend to get less. If you use the live stream vertical
But yeah,
one, you tend to
anybody.
get more.
Yeah, because even like uh like Jason, like Aquafunk, he does it like vertical, and then Craig will do a vertical. But sometimes I'm trying to scroll to chat, and then you scroll, and then there's some random like somebody's live in India. So
Somebody dancing to no music.
yeah, doing some Bollywood stuff or whatever. I'd be like, okay, I didn't mean to go in there. And then that'll be like on my YouTube history that I watched it, and I was like, I don't know what
Yeah.
this is.
Or you come across it where they're like running their hands through the microphone and crushing water bags. I was like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, probably some people think the same thing. They scroll on Aquafunts and he's doing his voodoo chant.
It's voodoo.
So yeah, you know, with his
Well,
chicken
sir,
feet or whatever. I don't know what he does.
I think we're going to start wrapping it up. We've been at this for a couple hours, and I actually have a family function that I need to get ready
Okay.
for. Again, I greatly appreciate you coming up,
No, yeah,
especially given
anytime.
everything that you got going on. It's enough as it is. But
Yeah,
I was really
no,
happy to see you start coming back and seeing you in chat. So that to me immediately was a good sign that obviously you're feeling better, good enough to be able to start interacting a little bit more.
yeah,
So
I probably laid off like going into because other people they even said the same. I didn't realize like probably for like a good 6-8 months I was like I wouldn't even go on YouTube.
yeah.
But yeah, but now yeah, I chill out and see what everybody's up to and talk shit.
Yeah, well, that's nice to have you back and have that aspect,
Yeah.
of you back. So,
Yeah,
uh,
anytime, you need someone to fill in another time.
well,
Someone
this is
calls.
not a fill-in. I don't consider this a fill-in. I was actually very happy that you wanted to come up because I wanted to see how you were doing too.
Okay.
Because last time I saw you was pretty much when we had the live stream, and so it's nice to see that now that you've been going through the cancer stuff, to see that you're doing a little bit better,
Yeah.
because you were gone for so long.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully I stick around as much as possible. that,
I
that
hope so too.
that's the plan, anyways.
Well, I'm glad to see that.
All right.
So it got dark where you're at.
Oh yeah, it's it's like 8. Well, I'm 3 hours ahead of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're almost 9 o'clock.
yeah, and
Well, it's
I
almost
didn't have the
8:30.
light on, so yeah, I'm sitting in here in the dark right now. So
All right. Well, okay. Well, I want to just say thank you to everybody that joined us today. Um, again, this doesn't happen if people don't accept to come on as guests, and if you guys don't continue to watch this. Beto, I'll make sure I get you modded after the live stream. He's been a regular coming back and watching a lot of the live streams. So, with that being said, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Tomorrow, we'll have Jody and Christopher coming on. They're going to be talking about their new business venture, which is called Tropical Fish Company, if I'm not mistaken, if I got it correctly. And same bat channel, same bat time. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow. You guys take care.
All right, later.
Later.